Hey y'all, welcome to the Realm Studio. This is Paula and I'm going to be working on this fairy for a bit tonight. I don't know what I've done with my pen. There it is. I need to remember to actually put it back in the drawer where it belongs. Let me click up here so that I can see any chat from anyone wherever who might be watching this, either on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook Live. Probably eventually I will get around to Mixer. Let's see. Oh yes, today I was going to work on the wings a little bit. Now I've studied some dragonfly wings. And something kind of interesting, I thought that they would have to be perfectly symmetrical before I actually looked at them to see. And the pattern actually is at the top of the wing, you have a bit more of a strong, almost a scale pattern. It comes back and goes to the edge. So each of these little individual scales, it's a good idea to do these. But then it does something interesting and veins out a lot like a leaf, and it has some interesting little branches and bubbles and squares in it. So you can see where I've started my right, her left wing, where you come out from the center of it, and then the line breaks and cracks and spreads out into veins. And so if you study something with transparent wings like a dragonfly, you'll actually see where this lines up and becomes like little squares. And it's not all going to be uniform, and it's not going to be symmetrical. It's just going to be a very delicate veining and lacing of the wings. Hello, Tank Ferret Art. And thank you. So, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so this is really just what I've observed about, dragonfly wings. And butterfly wings have something really interesting in that they're much more organized than dragonfly, but I do like the dragonfly effect. See, butterflies are going to do more like, let me sketch that on here. It's going to pull out in lines. And then they're going to have these loops in between, like this, frequently. So some of them are going to be a little different, but for some reason the curves on butterfly wings seem to curve back into it rather than vein out from it. And that's also where you get the scalloped effect from, goodness, what are those blue ones? Those kind of vivid blue butterflies with the speckles. Anyway, let me get rid of that. But for this one, she's going to have 4 wings. So let me see. What was a good line weight for this? So with this shape of wing, I thought that it would, line weight. There we go. I thought that the dragonfly would be more appropriate. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Come on back Monday. I have no idea what I'll be doing Monday. So, yeah. That was nice. I had somebody stop in on YouTube. So that was exciting because I have not had comments on YouTube before. And I was starting to wonder if it worked on the restream.io. So that was kind of exciting. Yay, YouTube works. Or the YouTube comments work. And so, let's see. We'll just... Essentially, the technique here is connect them until it looks right. And, you know, you're going to have some of your veins that go all the way out to the edge of the wing. They're not all going to go to the tip. They're going to go and terminate in the edge and actually do a lot more spreading out and veining before you get to the edge. They almost sort of crawl along. And there's not going to be a lot of crossing over. I know I just crossed over one right here and that's not that accurate. But yeah, they just branch out a little bit randomly. Although if you have like your main lines, like we'll come down to the lower one on the opposite side that I don't have very many lines on yet, you want to come down, make sure you have, let's see, this is, okay, which one of these is going to be my top line? Right here, and it's going to have to come down to the tip. And then you're going to have some others that terminate. Wait a minute, that was the wrong spot for that one. What did I do here? Okay. And I have other ones that come out and terminate down here. So actually what I'm going to do with this one is probably end up erasing that. I'm not really happy with how I laid out that one just now after I got done telling you exactly how it is that I did this one. I can't seem to repeat it. I will get around to that. The good thing is it doesn't have to be perfect, and this lacy, veined fracturing is going to give you the right effect. So if you're wondering how you're going to get all this colored, I have the outline of the wings on a separate layer. So if I need to do flats in a hurry over this whole thing, I can, let's see, there's my vector layer. I can hide my veining that I put in there. And I can either select it or just do a bucket fill. But if I do a bucket fill along with selecting it, that kind of cuts down the chance. Let's see. Oh, and I'll go down here to my coloring layer. And now I can unhide my my detail layer. So a lot of this is me trying to practice working with vectors. So I don't really love the thickness of my lines here. It's still really sketchy. So yeah, I guess I just need to work on it some more. I did correct this arm a bit. After looking at it a whole lot and wondering what happened to it, why did it look wonky, I ended up selecting, let's see, I used the lasso tool and I went around and selected the whole thing like that and used the scale up, scale down, rotate, and I didn't do any of those things. That just cuts it so that you can move it up. So I just tucked it back in there. It corrected the length of the upper arm, and from there it looked fine. I worked on adjusting the hands a little bit, but then I decided that the hand was fine. Probably what I will end up doing is, let me see, let me go into multiply. Probably what I'm going to end up doing with this is just get rid of the line art, or most of the line art, and just have it as a painting. So I'm still thinking about that. If I don't get any better at my vector line art and I can't correct it, then I'll just erase it and fill in all these little flakes here and still have a decent piece. So I'm going to go into my multiply layer to do some shading. For the skin, I was using oil paint, and I look in the light grayish colors for what I'm going to be using here. And I think I can afford to go up a little bit bigger. Oh yes, and a lot of the time it's a good idea to select, especially when you're working on something with like fingers, so that you don't go outside what you're trying to color. And also when you're working between two colors that are significantly different, like this sort of orangey reddish skin tone that I have going on here, and the green. You know what happens when you mix orange and green? You get mud. Okay, so we have our main muscle groups here in the arm. So over here on the shoulder, we've got a little bit of bicep. There's going to be a crease here going down the elbow. The light is going to hit it coming on the bottom of the elbow, up the back of the forearm, and across the back of the hand. And there's also going to be the handprint, right there. And we can move up to a redder color for in the fingers. And to show where the skin is thinner along the wrist on that pulse line. And we'll come back in here and just blend it. We'll start with about a 50 on that. I know if I'm going to be blending the whole thing, I'm not quite sure why it seems so important to me to use the oil paintbrush. I don't know if it really does blend any better or not. Okay, let's make the insides of the elbow a little more red, or this light grayish pink color, and along the outside of the elbow, just a little. And we'll blend it around and try and give a nice, maybe not realistic exactly, but a nuanced cast to the shading of her skin. Yeah, I thought I did really good with the crease of the elbow on the other arm. Yep. Thank you, autosave. Okay. Let's see. But this arm is a lot darker along through here, so I think I can afford to add a little bit more. We have a little bit of ambient lighting going on. Let's see. So right up here next to her dress strap, it's going to be a little darker. I probably need to smooth out this line right here. And a little more definition to the wrist. I'm going to take down the size of the blending brush a little so that the shadow belongs where I put it. So it just stays right there. Without being pushed around by the blending brush so much. And I'll try and make it a bit more of a gentle effect here. So far this is all shading. I haven't done any highlighting on it yet. I don't even have that layer. But so far you can already get a sense of the light, the quality of the light. It's casting softer shadows. Not so much of a spotlighted effect. And sometime I really need to practice doing some luminescence. That will be fun when I do some more mermaids. I need to do more unusual skin colors and luminescence, and that's going to be awesome on, something like a green or a purple mermaid. Something a little deep sea-ish. Now, I did experiment a little bit with that with a commission that I did earlier for Appalling Stories 2. I did the cover for that one for David Dubrow. And actually, I don't think I need to add anything else to that. That looks fine. That was one of my favorite commissions that I've done because I got to do spiny alien mermaids with a little bit of a nod to lanternfish, and I had, they ended up looking good and creepy. Oh, I might even be able to find that real quick. Let's see. In my files, somewhere in the pictures, I've done a lot of random things. white a lot. Ah, here we are. So I made a lot of copies of this one. There. So there's my original spiny mermaids. And I did get them to sparkle just a little bit, but I'd really love to push that luminescence. So I want to do that sometime. Let's see, where are we? What are we doing? Who am I? Alright. Kind of thought that the shading on the hands was just a little bit, has just a little bit too much line to it. And blend that out right there. She's not that cut. Let's smooth that out along this side and try and make that a little bit more of a subtle change. Okay, well that's looking pretty close. Let's see how she looks without the lines. Yeah, if I come back to this and just neaten it up around the edges, I think this is going to make a pretty nice painting. Which this is really strange because I used to work almost exclusively in line art, but that was paper and this is now. Yeah, the nice thing about working on the computer is I can't really misplace the computer. And you don't wait for things to dry, you just hit save. Okay, let me see. I'm going to select the skirt and then come back and go into my shading layer. We'll see how we go with, let's try dense watercolor with it. Hello, Fire Ice Ball from Twitch. Oh yeah, well, occasionally things can go badly on working digitally. Like I have completely lost stuff before and had to start again at the beginning or at a very, very early stage. There's stuff on my old computer. I still don't know if it's still there or not. I'm good. How are you? So, let's see. I wanted to do more veining on this skirt. I think that's kind of going to be the theme of this piece, since there's a lot of veining in the wings, and there will be more. I think it'd be nice to just keep building up the textures. Yeah, something interesting about the veining in dragonfly wings. It is very similar to the veining in leaves. Although leaves mostly start from more of a central point and branch off like a little miniature version of the tree that they came from. So they have one main vein going down. But dragonfly wings are slightly different in that they come out from the base of the wing, which you can't really see here, and form lines, and then the veining goes from there. I'm a little sleepy myself. Well, I got started with the streaming because I had a Kickstarter going for my comic. I just needed the funds to do the print run, and I just had such a hard time just talking about my project. So I thought, well, I need to do something. And even though I'm not really the artist on the comic, I'm the colorist on the comic. As you can see here, my line art is not terrific. So I hired a line artist, and she's really awesome. She's on Twitch too. Mia Pet. Her work is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's just cartoony enough. It's really fun and lively. But I was having such a hard time just talking about my comic, and I knew that I had to talk about it or I'd never be able to get any backers on Kickstarter. So I started streaming. So I started streaming so that I could actually talk and form sentences about what I was doing. So yeah, my comic is called Soulbound. It's going to be a 10-issue miniseries. The first issue subtitle is Adrift, and it's about a pragmatic med student who gets thrown into another realm of myth, monsters, and magic. And I can only say that because I spent so many nights, every night at 9 o'clock, trying to spit that out. So yeah, I started art streaming to practice speaking. And if I was just going to do like a podcast, I would freak out. I needed something to take up a little bit more of my attention. Let's see, I'm gonna hide these layers and select a new one. I'm gonna come up here and see about doing the top here. So, how do I want the veining to go on this bit? This is not an obvious leaf like the skirt was. I'll just get started. So, I mean, it could be a few pieces or one piece of a larger leaf, I guess. It's still going to have some veining. Yes, I finished issue 1, and it's about to go to print. I'm just waiting to hear back, from the guy who's going to set me up with his printer. And I still have the page up on Kickstarter for it, in the finished projects. So yeah, it funded and everything. Yeah, well, I mean, the Kickstarter is technically over, but I'm going to have copies left. So I was going to put them up on Etsy and on my website. My website is www.otherrealmstudio.com, and it would probably help me to actually have that on a layer somewhere. Let me see. Let me type that up real quick here. Job is a little bit... Oh no, that's going to be hard to read. I don't know if I'd call it a job, but I've started a business at it, so we will call it that. Okay. So there's my site. Let's see, what really helps here is if I capitalize each word, because sometimes it's a little hard. What did I do here? Okay. So it's www.otherrealmstudio.com, and I have a newsletter up there, and oh, there goes autosave. Can I scoot this somewhere? Okay, there. Let me go back to what I was gonna do here. Go back to light grayish, go back in the greens. So yeah, I'm a writer and an artist, and not so much of a speaker, but I try. I'm doing what it takes. And so Mia did the line art for the comic, and I did the colors, and it turned out really beautifully. Then I tried to do the lettering, and the lettering did not. So then I hired Wes Loker, who has his own comic, which is called Unit 44, and it sounds awesome. No. No. So, oh, I forgot to select that again, so I need to go back. No, I do not sing. I do sing, but I sing for my children. I have an 8-year-old who is the only fan of my singing left. It's hard enough to talk. I don't know. Maybe in the next Kickstarter I do. Yeah, because I have issue 1 finished, and now I've got 9 more issues, and I've got to round it up somewhere. What, by Backstreet Boys? I seriously don't think so. I don't think that my voice would do this. In sync. Are you... No, wait, wasn't that Justin Timberlake? No, I've got them all mixed up now. Why do you keep throwing boy bands at me? Okay. I wonder if I can get a little bit of detail on this without having to select it. I don't guess it needs too much on just that little bit. Classic. I don't know. I have concerns about your definition of classic already, Fire Ice Ball. Okay. Let me come back here. Oh yeah, I have not decided on a texture to use for, like, or even whether to go with boots and leggings or just do the whole thing as leggings. I decided on the color, but not a texture. I have not experimented with the India ink today. Though I'm not entirely sure I love the shape of the brush. That looks a good bit lighter than I'd hoped. I don't know. I think I could possibly carry off using this as a suede effect. What do I listen to? Oh goodness, I kind of have a range going now. Of course, now you named a bunch of boy bands. That's all I can hear in my head now. Not liking how that one's going. Still experimenting a bit. Let's see. I used to listen to a lot of country. I listen to whatever's on the radio now. I like Metallica. They actually have, well, okay, for a while, Metallica had interesting lyrics. Me by Taylor Swift. I've heard a lot of Taylor Swift stuff, but I'm not sure that I've heard that one. So what do you listen to, Fire Ice Ball? Yeah, it narrows it down. Okay. As long as I don't shout it in a crowded theater, I think we'll be fine. So, have you heard Hero of the Day by Metallica? Yeah, that's my favorite one. So I'm not going to go too harsh with the shading right here, but back here where the leg crosses behind, there is going to be some shading. And try and take as much care with the shape of the foot as I do with the shape of the arms and wrists and hands. Oh no, what you playing? You need to go back and carry your team? No. Which game? Yeah. There's like a 90% chance that my husband's back there playing Fortnite right now. Gears of War 4. Sounds interesting. I need to ask Polar Bear if he's seen that one. In Fortnite? Um, It depends on what kind of day he's having. But he is... I don't know if you can look him up necessarily. He's Polar Bear Joe 79. Okay, so I'm going to go back to layer 3, which is where I have my detail layers for the insides of the wings. Yeah, usually he's on here modding for me, but he might be busy right at the moment. Well, he's got strategies. He's really good at strategy, and that's in everything. So, you know, if all you need to do is outlast other players, you go drift somewhere, you land in a tree, and you just stay put until everyone else kills each other off. So he gets his challenges done. And he, let's see. branch off and vein a little bit more of this. See, I'm trying to think, what exactly does he do? But I know that everything he does has a purpose behind it. And so, he also mods for Chapstick on Mixer when she's playing Fortnite. It's Chapstick _XX. And he plays with her sometimes as well. But I don't think she's here on Twitch. Which reminds me, I should probably get on Mixer at some point in my life, in my copious spare time. And learn a new platform. So what system do you play on? The polar bear is on Xbox. Yeah, well, it depends on which one. Yeah. It depends on which one you start with. If you're used to Twitch, Mixer's going to be weird, and if you're used to Mixer, Twitch is going to be weird. Okay, so let me break off and do a little bit more veining across here. So this looks like a lot of painstaking detail work, but fortunately with this type of wing it can be random, or a little bit more random. No, I don't play Fortnite. I tried and it was like all the controls were upside down and backwards. And nobody understood what my problem was with it. So, I don't know. I haven't gotten the hang of it yet, and I've got a lot to catch up on here. I've got, let's see, I just about finished up one commission, and I'm open for more because I'm earning the money to finish up my 8 more or 9 more comics. No, I've got Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, which, yes, it's obsolete, but so is everything. And I had to quit that too, actually, so I could get my other stuff done. But I learned those controls, and just everything about the controller is just really unfamiliar and odd. Yeah, I can learn it. I will get around to learning it. Just not now, because I'm just trying really hard to learn a bunch of other stuff. Clip Studio Paint EX, for example. I still don't know where all my stuff is in here, and Yeah, my last stream, no, it was the one before this, but I accidentally switched my menu over here on the left side, and it took forever to fix it. It messed me up. Like, meanwhile, my kids are so good at stuff. It's like they pick it all up right away, and they're used to like 4 different kinds of controllers. It's not fair. Yeah, my 8-year-old's getting pretty good at Fortnite. And my 13-year-old is actually pretty good at Fortnite. Well, I appreciate your restraint. So yeah, everything really is just a question of practice. And unfortunately, practice is a question of time. And so I've also got a novel that I've just gotten back from the editor. I've worked on 1 chapter so far. I'm so far behind. But if my art's going to improve, then I need to do this. Oh no! Well, there went the 3rd round. Yeah, so I have a superhero novel that's going to be coming out probably later this year. From Silver Empire Press on their Heroes Unleashed universe. And they've already got a couple books out. They might still be on sale. Like, one had a deal where it was like free or 99 cents, like just the other day. Which it's a new and interesting take on superheroes. A little bit more like how they'd work out in the real world, but you know, you still get all your fun abilities and interesting cast of characters. So I'm really excited to be working with them. The Try Guys. No, I have not. What are they famous for? See, I need to remember to put in more veining here. Because of the angle of this wing, it's going to be almost compressed looking. Speechless. Oh, neat. I'll have to look them up then. Yeah, this is where I get all my recommendations. Well, okay, I also go to Comic Cons and get recommendations, but those are usually for anime. cool. Yeah, there's just so much out there. There's a lot of independent creators of all kinds of things, and it's just impossible to keep up with all of it, but it's like what's going on now is just incredible. Used to be you had to have a publisher, you had to have a sponsorship of some sort to get anywhere with anything, and now you can do things like crowdfunding. You can find independent editors to work with, so your book doesn't have to read like you just slapped it together, and you can get the same level of professionalism and everything just by working hard. And, knowing when you don't know enough, which was my problem with the lettering. Oh goodness, I might have, yep, it's about time for me to go. Oh, come on, I only have like 50 more tiny lines to draw. But yeah, I can't go over my time too much. But it was nice talking to you, Fire. I'm gonna look up the Try Guys, and oh yeah, she's fun. Lots of fun. That's Miss Chaos. Alright, so good night. Thanks for keeping me company. And I'll see you in the other realm.